Hey, discerned listeners, 90-Day Fiancé. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. As I always say, don't use YouTube as a replacement for therapy. If you need a therapist, get one. You deserve it. Let's watch.
I think you're right. But I guess, to be honest, like, you seem like really intelligent. And I just worry that sometimes wearing a shirt like what you just showed me, like, can take away from that, can be a distraction.
All right, so Jibri's mom is talking with Miona about the way she dresses, saying, I think in a roundabout way, that, well, I mean, I don't know if she's slut-shaming exactly. It certainly sounds like it, but she's not saying something directly around that. At the very least, she's expressing a common notion in society. One could argue it's sexist. One could argue it's not, I suppose. But that if you dress in a certain way as a woman, it means that you are you're communicating that you're stupid. I mean, that's what she just said. She said, I think you're an intelligent woman, and when you dress like that, it distracts from that. And it's interesting because for Miona, I don't know if I included this, but she said that I think people in the 21st century understand that those things aren't connected. And this is an interesting conversation because Jibri's mom is a therapist, and I assume that she understands feminism, and she's black, so I assume she understands racism and understands systems of power and the patriarchy and all those kinds of things. I don't know, but I would assume, I'd find it hard to believe that she doesn't understand those things. So for some people, all that gets thrown out the door when they're actually dealing with like I'll have colleagues who will talk about other people's parenting. They'll be like, you don't want to oppress your kids. You want to let them be free. You want them to express themselves. But when it comes to their own kids, you're like, you're not going to dress like that. So I think it's hard to get out of our programming. And also there are some semi-justifiable reasons for like if the mom had said something like, look, you're in the States now and you're in a small town, and in this town in South Dakota, people will, where you're from, I'm guessing it's totally normal, but in this town it's really odd to dress the way that you're dressing or the way that you're proposing to dress, and I'm worried about you, and I'm worried about Jibri. And you could say something like that. You could say, like, I'm worried. You can dress however you want, and it's on everyone else. Everyone else is the problem. It's sort of like black parents will tell their kids, and it's a whole complicated thing, but when what was his name, that he got shot because he had his hood up, in Florida, and I can't remember his name, but he tragically was murdered because he looked like a criminal because he was a black young man or teenage boy with his hood on. He has a hoodie. And so there was all this talk and debate around this sort of thing, and what some part of the outgrowth was that some black parents would tell their teenage boys, when you're in public and you're wearing a hoodie, don't wear the hood up in certain neighborhoods. Unless you're around people that know you, people might misinterpret it. And that's not your fault. That is society's fault. But I don't want you to be shot like that kid got shot. So, not your fault, not my fault, society's fault. It's, the society's fault. It's not your fault, but don't do that because I'm worried about you. And that sucks. It sucks that any parent would have to have a conversation like that with their kids, that they can't have their goddamn hood on. So if you had a conversation like that with Miona and said, like, I can't imagine what that would sound like. But the other, because I can't imagine a justification for that. The other side of this is that there are different versions or different points of view within feminism, and sometimes that's associated with age, because sometimes that's associated with the wave of feminism that that person came up with. And given Jibri's mom mom's age and Miona's age, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't have much data, but it's possible that for Jibri's mom, it's actually a feminist act, a pro-woman act to encourage another woman to dress differently, or to help her understand that she doesn't have to dress that way to please men. Because that's the other flip side of this coin. Is like, is Miona dressing this way truly for her? It certainly sounds like it, the way that she talks. I didn't show the whole clip, but it sounds like she's dressing because it's what she wants to do, and this is how she wants, and she understands the implications, and it's her choice. Or is she dressing that way because she has been programmed by society to feel like she has to do that because that's her only value? Because for a lot of women, they are taught that, and so they lean into it, or they feel like they're not a worthy member of society if they aren't sexually attractive or visually attractive to men. And so if you said something like that and investigated it for Miona, I think that would be justified, having that question. I don't know if I would raise that with someone in this scenario because you barely know her, maybe in the future sometime. But I don't know. The way it's coming across is, it's not a good look.
I understand, but I want to express myself how I want, and I want to learn to be comfortable in my body. So what gives me confidence is owning my body and saying you to everybody who thinks that I can do whatever I want with my body.
Yeah. So it certainly sounds like it is in some ways in opposition to the world of just like, screw you, this is me, deal with it, people. And it certainly sounds like it's not trying to give in to society. Now, one could maybe make an argument of that. You certainly couldn't from the outside tell Miona that that's what she's doing, but you could raise the question, I suppose. But it doesn't certainly sounds like it's coming from a place of power for her. So let's see what the mom says.
I don't want Miona to have a negative experience. But if Miona chooses not to adjust the way that she dresses in our home, to me, that is a sign of a deeper issue of disrespect.
Okay. Well, okay. So on one level, she's saying, I don't want her to have a bad experience. I think she means in their small town in South Dakota. That's okay. You could communicate that, and you would say, this isn't your fault, but this is how people are going to react to you, and I'm just woman to woman, information only, do with it what you will. But that's not the way she's coming across. She's coming across like there's something wrong with you, which gives me the vibe that this is more than what she's saying, that I think the mom has some kind of issue around this personally that she's displacing onto Miona or so. I don't know. But then she also says it's disrespectful. Okay, I guess so, but people have different rules. We saw Brandon and Julia, the parents were saying it's disrespectful to have sex in their house, which a lot of parents would feel that way. A lot of parents wouldn't, or a lot of parents just wouldn't even get into it because they would figure, well, they're going to do what they're going to do, and I trust that they'll keep it quiet so that we just won't have to deal with it. Us as well. We won't have sex in a way that you can hear us, and because why would anyone do that? So she's talking about being disrespectful. Okay, I don't know. Is she grasping at straws because she just has a thing against this? I don't know.
Why do her needs trump everybody else's needs?
I want to be able to get dressed like this and not to be judged.
Why do her needs trump everyone else's needs? That's an interesting perspective. That for Miona, who has yet to dress like that in their house, by the way, all she was looking at was a shirt that she was putting in the laundry and saying like, what's the logic behind that? So your need to express yourself trumps all of our needs. What needs? What need is being compromised by her dressing the way she wants to dress? Yeah, I guess there's a line at some point, right? Like if Miona's like, I want to be naked all the time, then and that's my power, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Okay, fine. If you're just like, look, it's distracting and it's odd, and but I've seen nothing. They showed pictures of her in a bikini. I'm just going to take a guess and say she's not going to walk around in a bikini all day long or walk around town in a bikini. I don't think so. She would still be okay to do so, though. In my book, it's a free country, and the whole thing of people policing other people's clothes is just like, let it go. Why? Like, stop it.
Doing your thing. You can wear whatever you wear, obviously, in the house, and Ryan's around and that kind of thing. I'm just wondering if you might be willing to not change like your clothes, but just wear some that you already have that's a little bit more modest.
Okay, sure. I would phrase it, because you're talking to another adult, that, look, this is just my preference. I'm sorry to impose this on you, but it's just a thing that we have in this house, and I'm a little worried about it. And so if you could, but you don't have to, but it'd be a courtesy to us if you could, that kind of thing. That's a different approach than the way that she's phrasing it. But she also said something interesting about her husband, like, especially when my husband's around. So that makes me think, like, is there some kind of worry there that the mom has? Does she have some history around that? I don't know. Is she, like, really worried? I don't know.
A little bit more covering.
Okay. It doesn't make me feel great, but I'm gonna think about it.
Yeah, Miona has been pretty good about things like this, that non-defensive. She's just like, okay, it doesn't make me feel great, but okay. And I think that's a perfect answer. Just like, okay, I mean, there's no reason to fight you on this. It doesn't make me feel good because you're basically saying I'm disgusting, or I don't know what you're saying about your husband, but you're saying something, and it doesn't make me feel very good. But okay, I'll do that. By the way, I didn't post a reaction to last week in which they cooked for the parents, and they, Jibri and Miona went to the store and they bought some chicken thing and they cooked it, and apparently it was disgusting. I was trying to understand how it could be disgusting, because was it not like a prepared meal that they just heated up? So, I mean, I guess you can make something, but the way they talked about it, it was like disgusting, like the worst possible scenario for chicken or something. I just thought, is that, I don't know. It just seemed odd to me. And then they were critical of it, and I don't know, there's a lot of confusing things there, because Miona was saying that, I think she was claiming that she knows how to cook or something, but we did see at the very end, Miona's like, well, on one hand, I felt bad that the meal was bad, but on the other hand, I'm glad that they saw how bad of a cook I am, so that they stopped asking me to cook things. I think that's what she said. As it's this feigned incompetence as a way of getting out of a chore. It sounded like that to me.
Honestly, she just pushing me away to want to move out of here even more, and I'm definitely going to tell Jibri after today.
Sometimes in families, when we are talking about hard things, it doesn't always feel great.
Yeah.
But I still want us to be able to talk about them and be honest with each other.
Okay, good. Yeah, the mom is concluding with a helpful summary or conclusion of just like, yeah, sometimes, these conversations don't feel great, but I want us to be able to talk about these things. Now, if Miona really takes this to heart, she will soon say, hey, Jibri mom, I want to talk with you about our conversation yesterday. So, but it sounds like Miona's just going to try to move out, which she has been wanting to do from the beginning. And that's a whole other topic, that she wants to move out and Jibri is like, we can't afford it. And it's one of those scenarios where it's like, I just wish they would sit down with a budget and work it out, because if it's possible and they have to sacrifice some things or take some risks and it's doable, then great. But if it's not, it's like, then Miona just needs to deal with the facts and adjust. All right, well, that does it for that episode. You can join the conversation in the comments below or on Discord or the Facebook fan page or the subreddit and various other places. By the way, I've been covering the trial lately, and there's been some people fighting in our communities, and the moderators have been reaching out to me and asking me to give comment. You might have seen those comments that I've given, and basically what I'm saying is that, and this really applies to all the topics that we cover, that there are important things to be fighting for. We need to be fighting for justice. We need to be fighting for victim rights. We need to be fighting for intimate partner violence awareness. We need to be fighting for Me Too. We need to be fighting against misogyny and sexism. All these things we can all agree on, I think. I mean, at least 98% of us can agree on for the most part. But when we watch the trial, Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, when we watch this show, there are times when it's ambiguous as to who we should be fighting for. And most people, including myself, well, not most people, but many people, including me, watching the show and the trial, are of the opinion like, well, I don't really know. It's hard to tell. I mean, there's certainly evidence on both sides. I'm kind of leaning this way, but I don't know. So that's one group of people. Another group of people will side with one side. Another group of people will side with, think of like Emily and Kobe. There seems to be kind of a divisive couple at this point, at least from the conversations that I see. And if you are fighting for Kobe in terms of, I don't like the way Emily treats him, then it's a take. It's an opinion. You're watching a show and either deciding or being biased or something in terms of how you want to look at something. And usually I try to present all sides. But my point is that if you're like pro Johnny Depp, for example, and you see someone that is pro Amber, to attack them implies that somehow you know what really happened, and you don't. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a trial. You can be passionate, you can be strongly opinionated, but you have to recognize that it's perfectly natural for someone else to look at it completely differently. And that's okay. You're probably both on the same side of things, though. You're on different sides in terms of the Johnny versus Amber, but you're on the same side in terms of we need to stop the violence, we need to stop victim blaming, we need to stop victim oppression, just all that. We need to stop the perpetration, we need to stop society supporting perpetrators. We can all agree on that. It just depends on how you look at it. So when we watch the show, when we watch the trial, to keep that in mind, because there's no sense in attacking someone and making someone feel attacked or making someone feel like they have to go on the defensive and attack you back when you're on the same side. We're all on the same side. We can agree on, you can say to someone, look, I agree with you that we need to stand up for victims' rights. I just don't, when I watch the trial, I just see something completely different, but that's okay because I don't know the situation. But, and you're entitled to your opinion. I don't understand it, but you're entitled to it given that none of us were there and everyone could be lying about it. So anyway, I just say all that. And, it's a blanket statement for all of our communities and really every community I would just hope would follow that principle. And they typically don't in my anecdotal experience, but at least ours we can, because I would hope that we can take care of each other like I talk about. I don't just say that because I feel like saying it. I say it because I genuinely believe that we can all make the world a better place. Let's do that. That's just me lecturing everyone about how they should behave online, which is such a dad thing to do. But, people think of me as an internet dad. Might as well lead into it. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.